At least 9 people have been killed and 16 injured in Toronto, where a van has hit a number of pedestrians. Authorities say it was a deliberate act. The driver is in custody and police are now trying to track down a motive. The BBC's Nick Bryant starts our coverage.
A spring day in the northern suburbs of Toronto, where pedestrians enjoying the afternoon sunshine were suddenly confronted by a vehicle careering down the pavement. It mounted the curve and was then driven at high speed, 70 to 80 miles an hour, according to eyewitnesses. It continued on for over half a mile, hitting pedestrian after pedestrian. It looks like this white rental van was used as a weapon.
All I seen is this guy is just crumble. I mean, he's going 70, 80 clicks. He's just hitting people one by one, going down. Oh man, it was like, it's a nightmare, man. I got to Yonge and Empress, and I seen a lady with her leg, and oh man, it's a gruesome scene. It's really bad out there. I couldn't believe what I seen, man. It was like, oh man, everybody, all these people on the streets getting hit one by one.
The street was scattered with discarded shoes and clothing, and the police now say that 9 people have been killed and 16 injured.
So many people just shouting, "Stop the car!" But he didn't. He just kept moving, and he hit some people, and 3 people lie down there, and they didn't move at all.
The driver of the van was arrested after finally being brought to a halt by police. This does appear to have been a deliberate act, but what's behind it as yet isn't clear.
This is a time when this community should come together. These are not the kinds of things that we expect to happen in this city. We hope they don't happen anywhere in the world, but we especially don't expect them to happen in Toronto.
The incident bears the hallmarks of Islamic State-inspired attacks in other major cities, but the early indications are that the motivation here may well have been quite different. Nick Bryant, BBC News, Washington.
Jessica Murphy is in Toronto at the scene of today's incident. Jessica, clearly it's still a very active investigation. What's happening?
It is absolutely an active investigation. You can see this street behind me, Yonge Street, closed down. It's closed down for quite a long stretch, closed off by police asking people to leave the area. Now, this is by all, is it really expected to be a very long, complicated investigation? What we do know is shortly before about 1:30 this afternoon, a van drove down the street behind me, hitting pedestrians. We spoke to one man earlier who said he was just out on a cigarette break and he just watched the van jump the curb and hit 4 people. Now, police have confirmed there have been 9 casualties. That's what we know so far. We also know that the man was the person driving the van has been arrested, but police are not giving any reason or cause behind this incident.
Jessica, the Mayor of Toronto is appealing for calm. What is the mood like there at the moment?
The people we all spoke to are just shocked. I mean, this is just a residential commercial area, people going about their business every day. It was a beautiful spring day here, and then suddenly this thing happened. They just don't quite understand how this could have happened here in Toronto.
Jessica Murphy, thanks very much for that update. Now, for more on what investigators are looking for at this point, I spoke a brief time ago with Jack Thomas Tamakio. He's a former official at the US Department of Homeland Security. Jack, thanks very much for joining me. It seems at this point that any vehicle can be used as a weapon of mass destruction. How does that change the game for the intelligence agencies and law enforcement?
Well, Jane, ISIS has gone on record of urging its followers to now think of different types of attack modalities. Instead of just bombs, they're now saying use household devices, use low-tech things, use cars, use automobiles, use vans as weapons of mass destruction. And so now we have a situation where on any given day, in any given locality, an individual, whether he is motivated politically or religiously or for any other reason, can use this type of modality and unfortunately, as we've seen in Toronto, cause significant damage with regard to the loss of human life.
Well, this clearly is an active crime scene, but the police do have a suspect in custody. Just how helpful is that?
That is infinitely helpful. So many times you're dealing with a suicide bomber often in Europe. And now we have a living, breathing suspect. We have a perpetrator. He's going to be debriefed. He is going to be interrogated. They're going to harvest evidence not only from his social media and his house and where he lives and everything he's posted, who he associates with, but they can interrogate this individual, and we can hopefully find out what motivated him to do this. And again, we don't know. We can't jump to conclusions that this is a religious or fanatical or political statement by this individual. He could have other reasons for doing this, but the fact that he's alive, it's infinitely better than we have a dead suspect. So it's great.
As you say, we can't jump to conclusions, but we're hearing a lot more about lone wolf terrorists, people who are inspired by terrorist organizations. How likely is it that he may have acted alone?
Well, again, that's part of the forensic investigation. If he acted alone, if he is one of these individuals that's totally below the radar screen, for example, like the shooter at the Mandalay Bay incident out in Las Vegas, spoke to no one, had no indication that he was going to do this, these people are almost impossible to stop. So you're going to look for what linkages he may have to indicate whether he had any supporters, and we just don't know that right now.
The Mayor of Toronto has appealed for calm. How nervous are other cities, do you think, around the area? And is information about this attack being shared with them?
Certainly, information sharing always enters into the picture when you have a potential terrorist attack. Well, this is a terrorist attack. We just don't know the motivation yet. So information sharing with other localities around Toronto, throughout Canada, and of course in the United States is happening as we speak. So, you know, we always do that. We're always sharing information, and we're always looking for those linkages. We're looking for any other individuals who might be copycat actors, or maybe individuals who are part of a greater network of terror. This might be the first in several. I'm not saying that it is, but you want to make sure that those kind of things are found out and uncovered as quickly as possible.
Jack Thomas DeMarchio, thank you very much indeed for joining me from Philadelphia.